Today's news highlights. Date March 10, 2025. News highlights: US stocks stabilized, and Taiwan stocks are expected to rebound today. 10. The key is whether TSMC 2330 stands firm at 1,000 yuan. Legal persons are advised to pay attention to four major indicators: foreign investment trends, Taiwan Stock Law Conference, NVIDIA GTC Conference and FOMC meeting. The four major US stock indexes rose, and NVIDIA concept stocks are expected to benefit. Foreign investors have been selling and suppressing Taiwan stocks for 9 consecutive years, and it is necessary to observe the trend of funds. The US inflation data will affect the Fed's decision-making, and the market is watching closely. Investors can pay attention to the layout of the target of the legal person to grasp the market trend. News highlights: TSMC 2330 announced that it will increase its investment in the United States by $100 billion, helping its global layout and doubling its revenue to challenge $200 billion in 5 years. The legal person is optimistic that with the expansion of new factories in the United States, TSMC is expected to accelerate its growth. This year's revenue is expected to exceed $100 billion for the first time, and the CAGR target for the next 5 years will exceed 20%. However, setting up factories in the United States still faces challenges in terms of water and electricity, talent needs, cultural adaptation, and even labor disputes. TSMC denied the relevant allegations, emphasizing that it will continue to deepen its global layout and move towards a world-class enterprise. News highlights: in the weeks since Trump took office, he has pushed for trade and diplomatic adjustments, which may weaken the performance of the US economy and stock markets, and European stock markets have unexpectedly benefited. European defense and infrastructure spending has soared, and Germany has shifted to a domestic economy. US inflation is stubborn, CPI is forecast to rise by 2.9% annually, and the Federal Reserve will not cut interest rates in March. The US budget controversy is heating up, and the risk of a government shutdown is emerging. Morgan Stanley lowered its US economic forecast, and JP Morgan Chase & Co. recommended shorting the US dollar. The German stock market rose 16% to become the biggest winner under Trump's policy. News highlights: on the 10th, the Finance Committee of the Legislative Yuan discussed the repayment of taxes to the people, and the Kuomintang proposed that cash should be paid when the tax is overcollected by 20% or more than 300 billion yuan. The Ministry of Finance stressed that the excess levy does not mean that there is a surplus, and that priority should be given to debt repayment and future fiscal needs. In 2024, the central government will overcollect 375.7 billion yuan in tax revenue, and the government will reduce debt borrowing and increase principal repayment by 20.8 billion yuan. The general cash has become the focus of attack and defense during this session, and its future use is still subject to budget regulations and the supervision of the Legislative Yuan. News highlights: the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, charged former New York State Assistant Governor Sun Wen with illegally acting as a Chinese agent to hide financial flows through her husband Hu Xiao's business activities, involving more than $15.76 million. Prosecutors found large amounts of unidentified cash, luxury assets, and suspicious banking transactions, which they accused of influencing policies in Taiwan and Xinjiang. The defense denied the allegations, saying the funds came from legitimate business activities. The case highlights the risk of China's political infiltration into the United States, which could prompt the United States to tighten its regulation of foreign influence. News highlights: the U.S. social media platform X recently removed thousands of accounts suspected of being linked to the Chinese Communist Party, which had vigorously promoted articles in the New York Times attack on Shenyun Performing Arts, showing a massive disinformation campaign. Experts believe this is a tactic by the CCP to control social media, using bot accounts to spread propaganda and dissident groups. Whistleblowers warn that the CCP is actively using Western media to influence public opinion in an attempt to block investigations into its human rights abuses. Platform X has launched an investigation and continues to crack down on platform control. News highlights: Trump's introduction of new tariffs has sparked panic and backlash in the market, and even Warren Buffett has publicly criticized the tariffs as an act of war that could lead to inflation and hurt consumers. He looked back at history and warned of the negative consequences of tariffs. Despite this, Buffett remains confident in U.S. companies, and Berkshire Hathaway still focuses on equity investments and stresses that he will not prefer cash equivalents. News highlights: Michelin celebrity chef Zhang Zhencheng was exposed to a night party with a long-haired girl at the end of 2023, and it was rumored that he had a marriage change with his wife Pam, but recently he was photographed appearing with his wife Pam and moving into Michelin's new home, with an amount of 38 million. Zhang Zhencheng was not affected by the latest news, and his relationship with his wife was stable, and the two took the high-speed train south. Although Kong's restaurant Ra has closed down, he still maintains a low-key and stable attitude towards family and life. News highlights: Teresa, a Czech girl who used to not go to the hospital when she was sick in Taiwan, said that Europeans usually deal with minor illnesses such as colds by taking medicine, supplementing with vitamin C and resting. She believes that she will only seek medical treatment if she is seriously ill, and shared that she did not seek medical treatment after being ill in Taiwan for 3 days. Regarding the salary of emergency and nurse workers in Taiwan, she is concerned about the high nurse-to-patient ratio in Taiwan and hopes to solve the problem of the medical system, because it is related to the protection of many people's lives. News highlights: after U.S. President Donald Trump took office, international politics was turbulent, especially the threat of tariffs on Mexico. Mexican President Sheinbaum succeeded in getting Trump to suspend tariffs on Mexican imports twice, which she attributed to Mexico's readiness to reciprocal tariffs and a dialogue with Trump. Sheinbaum stressed that dialogue and respect are the cornerstones of relations between the two countries, and warned that there should be no compromise on sovereignty, stressing that good relations should be maintained without interference from foreign governments. News highlights: Ko Jinfa, the father of former People's Party chairman Ko Wenz, died of illness on February 17 at the age of 94. The farewell ceremony was held at the Hsinchu Municipal Funeral Home on the morning of the 10th, and Ko Wenz arrived at 8:53 under the escort of the staff of the North Institute and walked into the venue to participate in the family memorial. Some members of the People's Party, local councillors, and the Taipei City Council caucus attended, and party chairman Huang Kuo-chang was unable to attend due to his father's funeral, and instructed Secretary General Zhou Yuxiu to pay tribute on behalf of the party's Central Committee. Former legislator Cai Biru will also arrive by 9 o'clock. Ko Wenz is expected to return to the North Institute by 12 noon. News highlights: actress Da.S. Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia during the Chinese New Year and died in Japan for more than a month. 70-year-old SS mother, Huang Chunmei, was unable to get out of her grief due to the loss of her daughter, and expressed her feelings on the community many times. In the early hours of this morning, she posted "It seems that she can't hold on," which frightened many netizens and left messages to cheer her up, hoping that she could face it strongly. Da.S.'s ashes are still placed at home, and her husband Gu Junyi plans to bury her in Jinbao Mountain and erect a statue to commemorate her. News highlights: Ko Jinfa, the father of former chairman of the People's Party, Ko Jinfa, died of illness on February 17 at the age of 94, and the farewell ceremony was held this morning, 10th, in the Jingxing Hall of the Hsinchu Municipal Funeral Home. Ko Wenz set off from the North Institute at about 7 o'clock in the morning, but encountered a large traffic jam, and arrived at the Hsinchu Funeral Home 7 minutes before the family sacrifice at 9 o'clock, 8:53. The scene was filled with flower baskets sent by all walks of life to mourn. Even though the political positions are different, the blue, green, and white celebrities gathered. K. Jianming, the chief of the DPP Legislative Yuan Caucus, appeared at the farewell ceremony at 9:15 a.m., former President Chen Shui-bian appeared at about 9:30, and another former President Ma Ying-jeou appeared at 9:40 at the public memorial. Han Kuo-yu, president of the Kuomintang Legislative Yuan, and Fu Kunking, the chief of the party caucus, also attended the ceremony to express their condolences. News highlights: Zheng Hickson, the director of Union Technology, was dissatisfied with the technical chief surnamed Yang, who posted a long article in the company's group before leaving the company, and asked to delete the article, which was refused, and he actually stabbed the technical chief surnamed Yang to death with a knife and sent himself to the hospital. This incident shocked the society, and writer Lan Yifeng said that although he did not know the person concerned, he felt deeply sad after reading the resignation letter of technical chief Yang. He pointed out that if an organization is found to have serious problems, it should stay away rather than try to save it, because failure to save it can lead to greater conflict and ultimately resentment. News highlights: former Taipei Mayor Ko Wenz's father Ko Jinfa died of illness a few days ago. Today, 10th, in Hsinchu City Funeral Home Jingxing Hall held a farewell ceremony. The farewell ceremony began at 8:30. Ko Wenz, who was detained for the Jinghua City case, left the Taipei Detention Center at 7:10 a.m., and arrived at the farewell ceremony venue at 8:53 to see his father off for the last time, wearing a blue-black jacket issued by the North Institute without handcuffs and leg irons. The political figures present today include former Presidents Chen Shui-bian and Ma Ying-jeou, as well as Taichung Mayor Liu Zihuan, Yunlin County Mayor Zhang Lishan, Hsinchu County Mayor Yang Wenk, Mieli County Mayor Zhong Dongjin, Hsinchu Mayor Gao Honggan, suspended, Hsinchu City Acting Mayor Chu Chenyuan and others, plus supporters, relatives, and friends, and others, with an estimated 1,200 people present. News highlights: Tong Zixian, chairman of Pegatron, emphasized at the forum a few days ago that TSMC cannot be regarded as Taiwan's Silicon Shield or Sacred Mountain to protect the country, which is too idealistic and cannot rely on TSMC to protect Taiwan for 20 years. He pointed out that Taiwan should review its industrial structure and constitution to avoid falling into Dutch disease, and stressed that Taiwan is overly dependent on import and export trade to promote economic development. He also responded to the statement that TSMC's investment in the United States would hollow out Taiwan, believing that it was too much to consider, and said that TSMC should not live in one person's martial arts and should adapt to the global semiconductor industry ecology. News highlights: in the Kaohsiung serial murder case, the suspect Zhang Zhizong admitted that the 3 women had been to his residence, but could not explain how they left and why the locomotive remained at the scene. The project team found that the head of the sister-in-law surnamed Huang was suspected to have been struck with an iron hammer, and seized the biological evidence of the Huang woman on the iron hammer. Zhang Zhizong appeared anxious and speechless when interrogated, indicating that he had concealed the truth of the case, and the prosecutor will continue to investigate the details of the case. News highlights artist Wang Delo has once again become the focus of attention due to a number of controversial incidents. In addition to being suspected of evading military service and instigating gangsters to beat drivers, it was also revealed that he joined forces with Xiaojin to collect debts. Wang Delo entrusted Xiaojin to recover the 4 million defrauded by the live broadcast host girlfriend Mu Xian from the inmate Pan Nan, and obtained the personal information of Pan Nan's sister through the channel. The prosecution found the photograph and suspected that there were prison personnel colluding with gangs, and Chen Zijianchen was detained and banned from viewing. Wang Delo was also released on bail for the crime of instigating injury, and the investigation of the case continued to expand. News highlights Cai Yushan, the daughter of Red Bean Restaurant, recently shared a photo of her left eye being scratched by her dog on social platforms, and sighed it's broken. Her tone seemed helpless, and then deleted the dynamic, causing netizens to speculate whether there was a hidden story behind it. Although many people are worried about her situation, Cai Yushan did not respond to the matter. She also actively updates the community, interacts with fans, shows her different sides, and once shared an interesting story of eating a pot and chasing dramas alone, emphasizing enjoying her time alone. News highlights after S. Su Ziwan passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia. SS mother, Huang Chunmei, still couldn't get out of the pain of losing her daughter, and recently posted on Facebook late at night and shouted it seems that it can't hold on, which aroused concern and distress among netizens. SS mother said that she was unable to face the death of her beloved daughter, and called on the outside world to give more space to stay away from controversial issues such as inheritance, only hoping to miss her daughter well, and prayed that she would not be immersed in endless pain again. News highlights the Trump administration in the United States has suspended military aid and intelligence sharing to Ukraine, affecting its ability to resist Russia, but Trump recently changed his tune and said that intelligence sharing has almost resumed. He said on Air Force One that good results were expected from talks with Ukrainian officials. The disruption of intelligence has led to damage to Ukraine's defenses, and recent Russian airstrikes have caused casualties. U.S. officials will meet with the Ukrainian side on the 11th to discuss war concessions and mineral agreements. News highlights Taiwanese pitcher Zhuang Chen's Hong Ao boarded the warm-up game in the spring training of the major leagues, and did not concede points in 2 games for the athlete's backup, sending 2 strikeouts, and performing brilliantly. He made his debut in the 8th inning, and although he was knocked down, he then made a steady pitch and successfully solved 3 hitters. Despite the touch ball and 4 bad escorts in the 9th inning, the team still successfully held on to the victory, helping the team defeat the Dodgers 7-5 and win the rescue. The ball was used for 36 balls and the fastest ball speed was 153 km per hour. News highlights a dog attack on a girl killed in Stavropol, Russia. A 9-year-old girl was pounced on and bitten by dogs while playing in the snow, and although she stood up for help, she unfortunately died. Residents fired gunfire in an unsuccessful attempt to drive them away, and the scene was stained with blood. It is reported that the dogs involved are suspected to be kept by a detained woman and are not strays. Some of the dogs have been shot dead, and the authorities are conducting a criminal investigation and reviewing the responsibilities of animal rescue agencies. The governor described the incident as tragic and expressed his condolences to the girl's family. News highlights Prince Robert of Luxembourg has announced that his youngest son, Prince Frederick, has passed away from the rare genetic disease POLG. Frederick was affected by multiple organ failure at birth, worsened after diagnosis at the age of 14, and was wheelchair dependent in the later stages. Prince Robert reminisced about his son's last moments on Rare Disease Day, and Frederick said goodbye to his family in turn, showing strength and humor. The royal family is deeply saddened by this and expresses its condolences to the outside world. News highlights Kei Wen's father, Kei Chenfa, appeared in Hsinchu today at the farewell ceremony. Kei Wen's appeared in prison clothes and beard, looking haggard, choked up several times when he knelt on the ground to give a speech, and was sad that he could not take care of his father in person. He recalled his father's tenacity throughout his life, and although he did not agree with his entry into politics, he always silently supported him. Kei's father lost his father due to the 228 incident and became the pillar of the family. Kei Wen's lamented that when his father was critically ill, he could not accompany him due to detention, which became a lifelong regret, and promised to face life strongly, take care of his mother, and hope that his father would rest in peace. News highlights Ho Pishan recently shared a video of her 47-year-old sister taking a day off on Chinese social platforms, exposing her lady-level itinerary, which sparked heated discussions among Chinese netizens. In the video, she woke up at 12:30 noon and lay in bed leisurely, and only went out shopping at 4 p.m., tried on shoes, selected glasses and analyzed the reasons for buying bags, laughing that curing all diseases. Dinner was then served, and takeout was ordered late at night. As soon as the video came out, it was supported by a large number of Chinese netizens, who left messages inviting her to settle in China, saying sister come to Beijing or Shanghai and we all love you. News highlights K Wen's father K Jinfa held a farewell ceremony today, 10th. K Wen's was allowed to escort the funeral, appeared in the Jingxing Hall of the Hsinchu Municipal Funeral Home, choked up several times during his speech, and grieved that he could not accompany his father when he was dying, calling it a lifelong regret. Her younger sister K Mylan also felt nostalgic for her father's teachings, mentioning that her father attached great importance to education and hoped that his children would go to national universities to reduce their financial burden, and mentioned that her father often said that he had 100 million yuan before his death, symbolizing that his 3 children were worth 30 million yuan each, expressing his cherishing of his family. This remark attracted online attention, and netizens hotly discussed its deep meaning. News highlights Huang Zijiao was sentenced to 8 months for possessing underage intimate films, raising doubts about his comeback. His wife, Meng Zhengru, issued a statement emphasizing that Huang would not reappear in the public eye, but she was still criticized. In this regard, internet celebrity Chen Yi strongly supported Meng Zhengru, thinking that the disaster will not affect the family. She supported her husband at the beginning or was shocked and stunned, describing his current situation as a victim, and bluntly said, "What is more terrible than marrying such a disgusting person and having children?" This remark sparked heated discussions. News highlights TSMC announced an increase in investment of $100 billion in the United States, which attracted attention. Guo Zhengliang pointed out that TSMC's investment will significantly reduce Taiwan's capital expenditure, and predicts a significant reduction in dividends next year. He mentioned that Wei Zhijia's mention of Taiwan's 10,000 people when talking about R&D centers compared to 1,000 in the United States was too direct and sparked discussion. In addition, Guo Zhengliang questioned how TSMC balances US and Taiwanese capital expenditures, and raised doubts about Taiwan's future investment plans. News highlights a juvenile brawl occurred on the evening of the 9th in Lane 50, Hanshong Street, Wanhua District, Taipei City, resulting in injuries to 3 teenagers. Police arrived at the scene and found 2 men, aged 17 and 15, who had been hospitalized with stab wounds. The incident occurred near Ximending, and passers-by found the scene blood-stained and called on the police to arrest the suspect as soon as possible. Police have access to surveillance cameras and have identified at least 3 suspects, and the investigation is ongoing. News highlights Cai Yushin recently posted a photo of her eye injury on social platforms, saying that she was scratched by her dog under her left eye, and sighed that it should be broken, and her tone seemed helpless. However, she then quickly deleted the post, allowing speculation about her remarks. Some netizens were worried about whether she had a secret, thinking that her words seemed to have a deep meaning, but Cai Yushin did not respond. Previously, she also shared the experience of enjoying hot pot dramas alone, and explained it as true feelings. News highlights K Wen's father K Jinfa passed away on February 17, and a farewell ceremony was held in Hsinchu City today, 10th. K Wen's wept bitterly, expressed his regret that he could not accompany his father to the last journey, and asked his father to bless his mother's health. In the memorial text, K Wen's recalled the hardships of his father's life, especially affected by the 228 incident, and mentioned that he was deeply regretful that he could not be by his father's side when he was dying. He finally apologized to his father and said that he would continue to be strong in the face of life's challenges. News highlights Zhang Zhenmao, the former vice chairman of the Financial Supervisory Commission, was awarded 250,000 yuan by the court for having an extramarital affair with his wife's subordinate A daughter. After the incident was exposed, Zhang resigned as chairman of Taixin Investment Trust, but this magazine received news that he had many entanglements with woman A, and even continued to have affairs during his wife's cancer, and the two not only frequently exchanged salty and wet messages, but also were questioned by woman A's husband in public, and Zhang ran away in embarrassment. Husband A eventually took the matter to court, and Zhang was ordered to compensate husband A. Zhang denied the affair externally, and clarified that he and woman A were only badminton friends, and pointed out that his wife knew about the incident and supported him, emphasizing that the case had entered the judicial process. News highlights a 42-year-old man surnamed Chen in Kaohsiung suffered a cardiac arrest on the road and was fortunately found by a nurse surnamed Huang who witnessed and rescued him. Nurse Huang immediately got out of the car and performed CPR first aid, which continued until the ambulance personnel arrived. After the incident, Chen Nan successfully regained consciousness and thanked Nurse Huang with his family for his selfless rescue. Nurse Huang said that although the medical profession was not in a good environment and she had doubts about her career prospects, she did not hesitate to choose to save people in an emergency. The video of the rescue exposed on the internet made many netizens express their appreciation for Nurse Huang and thank her for her bravery and professionalism. Nurse Huang emphasized that no matter what happens in the future, she will not hesitate to rescue people. News highlights Lin Yeting's 85-year-old father, Lin Yizeng, went missing on January 16 and was found dead in a pool on private land 10 days later, just 600 meters from the last CCTV spot. Lin Yeting was deeply saddened by his father's farewell ceremony and thanked his father for his care and love. Despite her grief, she continued to work and recently traveled to Japan to study and record a program. Running a clothing business, she has faced challenges, but she has not lost money and is committed to recovering her performance. News highlights to S. Su Ziwan died suddenly during a trip to Japan last month, leaving his family deeply saddened. Xiao S temporarily stopped work to take care of her mother, and SS mother posted in the community to express the pain of losing her daughter, and posted 12 articles one after another, feeling depressed, and even shouted it seems that it can't hold on, which aroused the concern and comfort of netizens. In addition to SS mother, her husband Gu Junyi also dealt with the aftermath. He was emotionally unstable, and his relatives and friends cared about him, and he responded that it takes time. News highlights Japanese actor Yutaka Matsushige arrived in Taiwan last Friday, 7, to promote the new film-movie version of The Lonely Gourmet written, directed, and acted, and went south to Taichung for the first time to promote. He chose to take a ride on the highway to experience Taiwan's rest-stop culture, taste director Ang Lee's favorite sauerkraut white meat pot, and visit the Audit New Village and Fengjia business district, leaving unforgettable memories. The two meet and greets held in Taichung attracted many fans, and he was even moved by the presence of a 97-year-old grandmother and her family. News highlights J. Joe shared photos of traveling with children on social platforms yesterday, 8th, showing full of fatherly love. In the photo, he interacted intimately with his son Romeo and youngest daughter Jacinda on the beach, and wrote while they are still willing to be spoiled with you, revealing his feelings for the growth of children. Fans left messages praising J. Chu's fatherly love, and some fans humorously asked him to write a song for his youngest daughter Jacinda. News highlights Japanese actress Azusa Kishimoto is rumored to have died of cancer on February 24 at the age of 39. Azusa Kishimoto was a member of the three-member vocal group Angelique and served as a presenter from 2007 to 2012. He married in 2011 and has 3 children, who were active in television, advertising, and radio before his death. Azusa Kishimoto's death shocked and saddened fans and the industry, with many people expressing their condolences on the community and regretting that she left behind 3 children. News highlights actresses Chen Yangzi and Chen Xiao got married in 2016, and officially announced their divorce last year, ending their 8-year marriage. Chen Yangzi recently shared photos of watching the drama Secret Love in Peach Blossom Spring on social platforms, and said, "You still have to learn to accept and let go," which seems to hint at the emotion of life. She mentioned the lines in the play, expressed the impermanence of life, and encouraged herself to learn to let go of the past. Netizens left messages of support for her, and hoped that she could continue to live a cheerful life, and expressed concern for her emaciated appearance. News highlights although the former Japanese AV goddess Yua Mikami has announced her retirement in 2023, she is still actively developing a diversified career and is gaining popularity. Yesterday, 9th, she shared a beautiful photo wearing a wedding dress and holding a bouquet of flowers on social media, and announced that something was announced, which caused an internet riot, and fans speculated whether she was married. Subsequently, Yua Mikami clarified that this wedding photo was to promote the first photo album after retirement, and emphasized that it is not a marriage. Fans have left messages expressing their peace of mind and expressing their anticipation for her new work. News highlights TSMC, 2330, ADR rose 0.71% on Friday, but the stock price fell below the 1,000 yuan mark at the opening of early trading, reaching a minimum of 992 yuan, affecting the market by more than 100 points. TSMC recently released its 2025 outlook, which expects full-year US dollar revenue to grow by 26% year-on-year, and plans to invest $100 billion in the United States to help double revenue within 5 years and challenge the $200 billion target. The corporation is optimistic about its overseas layout and accelerates its growth. TSMC paid a dividend of 4.5 yuan per share in the fourth quarter, which will be ex-dividend on the 18th, and the market is concerned about whether it can stage a second interest rate again. Despite the overselling of 60,824 contracts by the 3 major corporations, investors are still focused on their high cash yields. News highlights NVIDIA GTC will launch a new GB300 AI chip, driving the growth of demand for water-cooled components, especially the surge in demand for water-cooled couplings, and the market expects Fuzda, 6805, and Shishuo Industrial, 4566, to be the biggest beneficiaries. On the 10th, the stock market performance was divided. Shishuo led the gains, Qiong, 3017, and Zhuanghong, 3324, also rose, while Fushida turned black intraday. In the water-cooled supply chain, Shishuo Industries has opened a new factory in Thailand and is actively deploying the AI server market, which is expected to drive rapid growth in operations. Delta, 2308, will become the main supplier of GB300 power supply. News highlights Kuomintang legislator Lai Shipao held a public hearing on paying taxes to the people on the 10th, emphasizing that the government should appropriately give back to the people the excess taxes and promote the legalization of universal cash. Although the Executive Yuan is opposed to legalization, it has expressed room for discussion on this year's special regulations. Lai Shipao pointed out that the Taiwan authorities have collected as much as 1.3 trillion yuan in excess taxes, and that the excess taxes should be used to lighten the people's burdens instead of diverting them for other purposes. He believes that such universal cash can promote fiscal transparency and improve budget accuracy. The Executive Yuan said that if the Legislative Yuan passes a special ordinance, it will release ordinary cash as soon as August. Lai Shipao stressed that the KMT will actively promote special regulations to ensure that the people can share the dividends of economic growth. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policy change and economic worries have depreciated the U.S. dollar, leading to a rise in the yen. Bank of Taiwan's 10-day yen banknote opened at 0.2265, a 5-month high. Compared with the low point in July last year, NT dollar 100,000 is exchanged for nearly 47,000 yen, which is equivalent to 6 fewer tickets to Tokyo Disneyland. The yen's appreciation was mainly due to risk aversion and market expectations that the Bank of Japan may raise interest rates. News highlights a man surnamed Wu, a senior in Taichung City, was killed by a drunk driver, with a long criminal record. 2 years ago, he and the eldest brother surnamed Kong of the Bamboo Union Gang had a conflict with students, and about 30 people went to the dormitory to beat each other, and were later sentenced, and the man surnamed Wu was exempted from imprisonment with a fine of 360,000 yuan from Yike. After the drunk driving hit and killed the college student, he first called his friends to inform him, and only after persuasion did he surrender to the police, with an alcohol concentration of 0.37 and 3 unlicensed driving records, and the prosecutor requested detention. News highlights the Ministry of Finance announced that last year's tax collection exceeded 528.3 billion yuan, a record high. The Lanying legislator put forward a draft and advocated a universal payment of 10,000 yuan for the whole people. However, at the public hearing on the 10th, experts in the Ministry of Finance said that if the overall budget is not taken into account, PUFA may lead to the risk of borrowing money to make money. Lanying believes that the excess tax should be repaid to the people, and puts forward the condition that the actual tax revenue will reach 120% or 300 billion yuan in general cash. The Green Camp believes that there is no epidemic to stimulate domestic demand, and the demand for general cash is no longer there. Experts pointed out that overtaxation does not mean that there is fiscal surplus, and PUFA may bring long-term burdens. News highlights the sudden disappearance of the Cao Shengtian Facebook fan page surprised many netizens. The fan album could not be queried, and it sparked heated discussions. Although its Instagram platform has not yet been shut down, it sent out several wordless base images on March 7 without further explanation, leaving netizens to speculate whether it was related to some recent controversial incidents. Netizens left messages expressing concern and put forward various speculations about the behavior of the fans. At the moment, the fan has not responded. News highlights today, 10th, there will be a mesolayer cloud system passing through the north, scattered brief rain in the eastern half, the mountainous areas north of the central part in Matsu, and the other areas in Penghu and Kinmen will be cloudy to clear. The wind direction turned to the southeast, and the temperature rose during the day, 24 to 27 degrees in the northern and eastern halves, and 28 to 29 degrees in the central and southern parts. It is expected that there will be brief rain in the eastern half, the mountainous areas north of the central part and the Hengchun Peninsula on the 11th and 12th, and fog or low clouds will easily affect visibility in the north of Tainan and Matsu. The front passed on the 13th, and the probability of rain was high in Taiwan, and the temperature dropped slightly. In terms of air quality, the northern, Zumiao, central and Pengjinma are of the ordinary grade. News highlights K. Chinfa, the father of former chairman of the People's Party, K. Chinfa, held a farewell ceremony at the Hsinchu Municipal Funeral Home today. He said that his father had been waiting for him, but he could not be by his side at the last minute, which became a lifelong regret. He recalled his father's dedication to his family and shared his past journey, mentioning his father's shadow after the 228 incident, as well as his father's concern and support for his political career. K. Wenz thanked his father for his life's teachings and asked him to rest in peace. News highlights Pegatron chairman Tong Xixian said in a speech at the People's Party Forum today that it is a strange concept to refer to TSMC TV as a silicon shield or sacred mountain to protect the country. He stressed that Taiwan should not rely too much on TSMC and should review its industrial structure to avoid falling into Dutch disease, and warned that TSMC may not be able to continue to protect Taiwan for 20 years. He pointed out that Taiwan's economy depends on import and export trade, and it should readjust its economic quality in order to move toward future development. News highlights many tertiary hospitals in China have been connected to DeepSeek, a medical AI system to improve diagnostic accuracy and optimize treatment options. Doctors generally ask for AI recommendations during consultations and obtain more accurate diagnostic results. Despite this, experts point out that AI still relies on accurate data input and carries the risk of hallucinations, which cannot completely replace doctors' judgment. However, with the accumulation of data and algorithms, AI will play a greater role in the field of precision medicine. News highlights former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney will become Canada's new Prime Minister, succeeding Trudeau. Carney has extensive experience in crisis management and advocates for reciprocal retaliation and diversification of trade relationships in response to Trump's tariffs. He has never held public office or cabinet position, making him the first Canadian Prime Minister to do so. Carney has excelled in the financial crisis and has served as Governor of the Bank of England and has a deep understanding of the financial system. News highlights former People's Party Chairman Kay Wen's father, Kay Chinfa, passed away on February 17, and a farewell ceremony was held in Hsinchu City today. Kay Wen's arrived without restraints and participated in the family sacrifice with a blank face. During the memorial text, Kay Wen's choked up and cried, and apologized to his father, expressing regret that he could not be with his father before his death. He recalled his father's strict teachings and support for him, and pledged to continue to be strong in the face of future challenges and take care of his mother. He said it would be the regret of his life. News highlights a female netizen shared her privacy concerns with her boyfriend on Threads, saying that although her boyfriend can view her Instagram and browsing history, he must not touch her conversation with ChatGPT. As soon as the article came out, netizens responded one after another, saying that ChatGPT has become their most secret best friend, and there are too many secrets hidden in it that no one can see, including the other half. Someone shared that he often asks ChatGPT for intimate questions or analyzes the behavior of people he likes, emphasizing that this is more than a chat history with girlfriends. News highlights the 70-year-old SS mother has been unable to calm down after losing her beloved daughter to S, and vented her emotions on social platforms many times late at night. Late at night on the 9th, she posted again to express her helplessness and sadness, writing, "There is a feeling. It seems that she can't hold on, yes bitter," which made many netizens worry and left messages encouraging her to take care of herself. With the death of DS, the family is also facing the problem of inheritance division, and the handling of luxury mortgages has become the focus, and about DS's funeral, although it was once rumored that there was a tree burial, her husband Gu Junyi still hopes to commemorate his wife in other ways. News highlights former People's Party Chairman Kay Wen's was detained for corruption, and his father Kay Cheng died of illness, and a farewell ceremony was held today. Kay Yuan was expected to arrive at 8:10 a.m., but due to road conditions, he arrived at 8:53 a.m. and left at 10:16 a.m. He choked up when he remembered the text, regretting that he could not take care of his father himself. When leaving, his wife, Peggy Chan, cried and hugged her, unwilling to let go, and shouted judicial persecution of human rights. Supporters outside the stadium shouted for Abe to come on. News highlights the Kuomintang is facing a general recall crisis, and internal polls show that new Taipei legislator Ye Yuanzi and Taitung legislator Huang Jianbin are not optimistic about the election. Internet celebrity Brother History Li Yuxiu analyzed that although Huang Jianbin is young and his background is not in Taitung, he was able to win the election mainly because of the internal division of the DPP. Coupled with the unfriendliness of the people of Taitung, the risk of its recall has increased. Brother Shi called on the Kuomintang to mobilize with all its might to ensure that the seats were not lost. News highlights Ximending shocked the juvenile slashing case. At 20 o'clock last night, the Wanhua police received a report and found that 3 teenagers had been sent to the hospital with knife wounds. The conflict is suspected to have erupted after the 14-year-old suspect and the victim choked each other online. The 4 persons involved in the case, aged between 14 and 17, were brought back for investigation and seized 2 watermelon knives and 1 aluminium rod, and found that 2 of them had been involved in 3 brawls. Further investigation is pending. News highlights Lucas, a 20-year-old man in Germany, was homeless, and after joining his half-sister, he repeatedly threatened each other with sexual relations, and even showed off to his sister and boyfriend. The woman was unbearable and threatened to call the police, but Lucas sued first, but the police found clues after investigation and arrested him. The court eventually sentenced Lucas to 2 years and 9 months in prison, and the case caused concern. News highlights the weather is warm and stable from now until Wednesday, with high temperatures reaching 30 degrees, but 2 waves of fronts hit on Thursday, bringing rain and drastic cooling. On Saturday night, the cold air mass of the mainland moved southward, and the whole Taiwan turned colder, especially in the north. Temperatures continued to drop on Sunday, with localized rain still in the northern and south-central mountains. At night, the low temperature in the north of the central part and Yulan is about 13 to 14 degrees, the south and Huadong are 16 to 18 degrees, and the outlying islands are as low as 11 degrees. News highlights a 6-vehicle serial collision occurred on Taiwan Line 61 this morning, including 1 large truck, small truck, and passenger car. The police said that the large truck chased and stopped the vehicles waiting for the red light, and one of the small trucks was carrying bleach, which leaked after the accident and was dispersed by the fire brigade to confirm that it was not dangerous. At present, only the inner lane is open to traffic, and the drivers are only slightly injured, and the details of the accident are still under investigation. News highlights it has been more than a month since the sudden death of DS, and SS mother is still difficult to get out of the pain of losing her daughter, and last night she posted on the community it seems that she can't hold on, revealing helplessness, which made netizens worry and leave messages to cheer up. Since the death of her daughter, SS mother has expressed her grief in the community many times, and recently reposted the old article Keep the Grief to Yourself, showing that the inner pain has not healed. At present, the SS ashes are still stored at home, the burial place has not been officially confirmed, and SS family is still deeply grieved and needs time to heal their wounds. News highlights after K. Wen's left the North Institute this morning, he went straight to Hsinchu to attend his father K. Jinfa's farewell ceremony and recited the memorial text. The retrospective video released by the K family records the important moments of K's father from childhood to old age, and finally ends with the picture of playing the piano in 2019. K. Wen's mentioned in the memorial that his father lost the opportunity to go to school due to the White Terror, and worked hard to become the pillar of the family all his life, and advised him not to enter politics to avoid repeating the family tragedy. K. Wen's also expressed his regret for not being able to accompany his father in his last days, and promised to face life strongly, take care of his mother, and hope that his father will rest in peace. News highlights police handled a slashing incident near the Lion Forest building in Ximending last night, and 3 underage teenagers were injured and sent to the hospital. The 4 teenagers involved in the case choked each other on social platforms in the past, and attacked each other with watermelon knives and bats after a chance encounter last night, and escaped afterwards. Police identified the suspects through surveillance cameras and community records, arrested 4 people in the early hours of this morning, seized the murder weapon, and transferred them to the juvenile court for assault and gathering a crowd to fight. It is reported that the juveniles involved in the case are all dropouts, and the parents reluctantly said that they can't control it after arriving at the police station, and they are no longer surprised that their children are in trouble. News highlights internet celebrity Chen Yi reprinted the picture card on Li Yujin's fan book in 2023 and ridiculed it, and also promoted the industry matching, but was investigated by the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office, and was prosecuted for violating the copyright law by reproducing the image without authorization. Chen Yi was silent for 2 days after being prosecuted, and posted a response last night, saying that he did not infringe copyright, and mentioned Facebook's virtual avatar clause, believing that according to the clause, the virtual avatar will not reflect any personal image and can be used by all users. However, Li Yujin did not let go, and responded toughly, finally silenced Chen Yi, and teased, "Is Chen Yi driven crazy by me?" News highlights the land drama Hard to Coax will open the on-demand finale in advance on the 10th, and you can pay to see the 32nd episode first, while ordinary members need to wait until March 17th. The show is very popular in Taiwan, but it has been criticized for frequent sexual harassment and too many supporting roles. The heroine has been sexually harassed many times, and the crew urgently deleted the controversial scenes. The excessive role of the supporting roles was also accused of affecting the smoothness of the main plot, causing the audience to skip the progress bar, and the ratings were not as good as the sister work Secretly Can't Hide. News highlights Li Weifeng returned to the music scene, released an album after many years, and it was rumored that he had registered his marriage with his girlfriend Min outside the circle for nearly 3 years. The woman's family is well off and she once funded him to buy a pre-sale house in Taipei. The relationship between the two has always been low-key, but they frequently share travel details on IG. Li Weifeng once went to mainland China for development, and then returned to Taiwan to start a business, and then relied on live broadcast to stabilize his income. Last year, she became popular again because of Miss Bulletin City, and recently joined the new owner Storm International, regained the microphone after 10 years, and sang about his own growth process. News highlights Japanese actress Azusa Kishimoto died of cancer on February 24 at the age of 39. The agency confirmed the news but did not disclose the cause, which shocked fans and the entertainment industry. She debuted as a member of Angelique in 2000 and is active in the music, television, and radio industries. In 2011, she married her boyfriend outside the circle and had 3 sons. Last year, he still frequently shared his family life, and the last community update was an amusement park photo in October 2024. News highlights Wang Tszichu, who was sentenced to 8 months for the number Me Too incident and possession of juvenile sexual images, was recently witnessed traveling with his family, causing controversy. Actress Dia, who once accused Chen Jianzhou of sexual harassment, lamented that the incident has not yet been apologized, and said that the injuries she suffered are still scars that cannot be ignored. Quoting whistleblowers, she encouraged herself and others to value gender autonomy and physical boundaries, and thanked her supporters for their encouragement that she was still trying to live her life. News highlights the farewell ceremony of K. Jinfa, the father of former People's Party chairman K. Wen's, was held today, 10, in the Jingxing Hall of the Hsinchu Municipal Funeral Home. K. Wen's in custody was allowed to take leave to go to the funeral, but he could only participate in the family sacrifice. K. Wen's cried while reading the text of his father's sacrifice, and revealed that he only learned of his death through his lawyer the next day after his father's death, which will be the regret of his life. K. Wen's cried and read the text of the sacrifice to his father. Photo/Zhongtian News. He arrived at the Hsinchu City funeral home at 8:54 this morning, accompanied by 8 guards. As the eldest son, Kei Wenz mentioned in the tribute to his father that because his grandfather suffered from the White Terror, his father could only give up the medical department and choose to study in a teacher's college, and hurriedly graduated and worked to earn money to raise his younger brothers and sisters, and it was his father's lifelong regret to not be able to go to college and become a doctor, so Kei Wenz studied very seriously without supervision since he was a child, he said. My father looked at my report card, although he didn't say anything, but I knew he was happy. Kei Wenz mentioned that when the news appeared in 2013 that he was going to run for mayor of Taipei, Kei's father took a train from Hsinchu to NTU Hospital to persuade him to continue to be a doctor, and Kei's father said to him, I lost my father in 228, I don't want to lose my son again. Kei Wenz cried and said to Kei Dad in the text of the sacrifice to his father, my final decision has made you worry a lot about me in the past 10 years, and the turn of my life has made you lose the company of your son before you die. Play_circle_outline. Kei Dad's farewell 7.5 minutes of life review, the last gaze of the film. Kei Wenz said sadly, in August last year, when my father was hospitalized, I was detained for being accused of being trumped up by the judiciary. I have practiced medicine for 30 years, saving countless people, but when my father needed me the most, I couldn't take care of my father's illness in person, and I rushed to the hospital in a state of alert only when my father issued a critical illness notice. The first 2 times my father tried hard to open his eyes and look at me, and he miraculously improved. I know, he has been holding on, waiting for me to come out. The first 2 times I tried to call him before leaving, but I couldn't make a sound, and the last time I went to see him, he was unconscious, and I could only hold his hand and talk with tears in my eyes. Kei Wenz revealed that the news of Kei's father's death was not until the next day when the lawyer went to the detention center to see him. Your father passed away yesterday morning. Kei Wenz said sadly that this would be the regret of his life, and he also apologized to his father. I'm sorry for my father, I still made you worry until I was in my 60s. Kei Wenz asked Kei Chang to be heartfelt. He will continue to be strong in the face of life's setbacks like his father, and hope that his father will bless Kei's mother with good health. He also said that he will take good care of his mother. I believe that there will always be a bright day in the past. News highlights the Kuomintang, KMT, today, 10th, solemnly denied the rumors of conditional cabinet collapse, emphasizing that the matter has never been discussed, and said that the focus of the new session is to promote the People's Livelihood Bill, rather than political struggle. In response to speculation, the KMT stressed that it should pay full attention to local construction and the well-being of the people, and criticized the DPP for launching a general recall and called for it to turn back. In addition, party insiders revealed that the issue of cabinet collapse was indeed raised by some political leaders, but it was only a personal opinion, and it did not enter the formal discussion process, nor did it receive a response from the party. News highlights the farewell ceremony of Kei Jinfa, the father of former People's Party chairman Kei Wenz, was held today, 10, at the Hsinchu City funeral home. In the text of the tribute to his father, he cried while reading it, lamenting that he was still in detention when his father died, and only learned of his death through his lawyer the next day, which became a lifelong regret. He recalled his father's perseverance and expectations of himself, apologized to his father, and promised to face life strongly, take care of his mother, and hope for a bright day in the future. News highlights the Ministry of National Defense clarified today, 10th, that the U.S. side asked Taiwan to extend the compulsory service period to 2 years mentioned by former legislator Guo Zhengliang a few days ago is not true. According to the Ministry of National Defense, the adjustment of the compulsory service period needs to take into account various factors such as national defense security, international situation, defense needs and social development, and there is no plan for such an adjustment at present. The Ministry of National Defense stressed that the current compulsory service period is still 1 year, and that the results of training are being actively accumulated, and that it is open to discussions on compulsory service, but there are no plans to extend the period of compulsory service at this time. News highlights former chairman of the Taiwan People's Party Kei Wenz's father Kei Jinfa died of illness on February 17 at the age of 94, and the farewell ceremony was held today, 10, at the Hsinchu City funeral home. Kei Wenz participated in the family sacrifice under the protection of the guard, and broke down in tears when he read the text of his father's sacrifice, lamenting that he was still detained when his father passed away, and he could not accompany him, which became a lifelong regret. After the ceremony, he hitchhiked back to the North Institute, and when he parted, his wife Chen Piki hugged her tightly and cried out political interference in the judiciary and judicial persecution of human rights. The scene was moving. News highlights this morning, March 10, a car accident occurred on Line 61, Lingkou District, New Taipei City, and 6 cars collided, including high-priced cars such as Mercedes and Lexus. The truck involved in the accident crashed into other vehicles for unknown reasons, and bleach water on the truck was spilled. Fortunately, there were no casualties, and the fire brigade quickly handled the scene without danger. The accident caused traffic congestion until it returned to normal at 11 a.m. The cause of the accident and the attribution of responsibility are under investigation. News highlights at K. Jinfa's farewell ceremony, President of the Legislative Council, Han Kuo-yu, showed a deep friendship, arriving at the scene from before the family memorial and accompanying him all the way to the end of the public memorial, and finally leaving the table. He said, "The saddest time is also the most helpless time, and I want to accompany me more to express my condolences." Han Kuo-yu and K. Wen's had a friendship with each other in the political arena in the past, and this move showed even more cherished feelings, which deeply moved the K family. News highlights meteorological expert Wu Durong pointed out that the weather was sunny from today to Wednesday, and the temperature rose to more than 30 degrees. There will be severe weather in some areas on Thursday and Friday, so pay attention to lightning strikes, strong winds, and heavy rainfall. From Saturday to Sunday, the front will pass, and the probability of localized showers or thunderstorms will increase. From Monday to Wednesday, it will turn dry and cold, and there may be a cold snap in the early morning and night, and the temperature will plummet. News highlights the latest news. The police circles in China and Taiwan broke out the leakage of suspicions. The Zhonghua District Prosecutor's Office this morning, 10th, commanded the case handling personnel to search for Taichung City's first branch, Dongxi Dia Branch, Taichung City Criminal University and other units, and it is rumored that the Zhonghua branch was also searched. At present, the prosecutor does not disclose the relevant progress of the investigation, only knows that it is suspected of being related to the case jointly handled with the Coast Guard, and the content of the case still needs to be explained by the Zhonghua District Prosecutor's Office. News highlights in the Kaohsiung corpse murder case, Zhang Zhizong was suspected of killing 3 women. After collecting evidence, the task force first interrogated Chung Kai-chung on the 6th of this month, in which he admitted that the 3 women had been to his residence, but insisted that they had left on their own and could not explain the circumstances after their disappearance. The police found the woman's body and confirmed that Zhang Zhizong was related to the case, and found the DNA of the yellow woman on the iron hammer. The project team continued to investigate and look for more evidence to strengthen the evidence of the crime. News highlights Japanese actress Azusa Kishimoto passed away from cancer yesterday, 8th, evening at the age of 39, shocking and saddening the entertainment industry and netizens. Azusa Kishimoto debuted in 2000 with the vocal group Angelique and has been active in theater and variety shows. She got married in 2011, has 3 children, and often shares her family life on social platforms. The last community post was in October 2024, sharing a happy time with his son at Universal Studios Osaka, and has not been updated since.